Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And I am going to show you today how I made a fun card with the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set bundle. And like I said, it's just it's such a great bundle. It's available now today, finally, for customers to order. So that is really awesome. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited for all of you guys to get your hands on it finally. I feel like I've had it for quite a while and been waiting around so that you guys could all get it too. So again, it's a really great stamp set bundle, and I actually, for whatever reason, I cannot get the video to pull up on my darn computer. So, interesting. There we go. Okay. So now I can see you and I can say hi, Rosie. So I apologize. My computer was not being cooperative, or Facebook, one or the other. All right. So this is the card we're going to be making today, and like I said, it's just such a great bundle, and I'm excited that everybody's able to get it now. I actually didn't use the stamp set on it today, just the dies, and I used stamp set, or the By the Dock stamp set for the sentiment, but we'll go over that in one second. But I wanted to run through kind of the bundle and talk a little bit about that before I dove into the rest of it. So hey, Elise and Barbara and Debbie and Bree is here as well. So glad y'all are joining today. I appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit. So, all right, so here we've got the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set. And again, if you haven't seen it, it's actually pretty cool because it's all one big image. And of course, this is a brand new one, so it doesn't have the little pieces poked out. But there are little holes in here that you can actually poke out. And I saw somebody, I think it was Kylie Bertucci, took the little pieces she poked out of here, stuck them on a block, and made a little giraffe background. So it was really cute. So don't throw those pieces away is all what I'm saying. All right. So that is the stamp. And again, it's a one big stamp rather than a bunch of individual ones, which is awesome because you can stamp a whole bunch of butterflies all at once. And then can't wait to get this one. Yeah, it's a good one. You're going to love it. So, hey, Jerry, thanks for joining today. And then we've got this die set that is equally as awesome. And this actually, I should have left this open, die cuts all of these butterflies that are stamped all in one swing. So it's really cool. It's a great die set. In addition to the big dies, there are also individual little dies for the butterflies, and these overlay perfectly on all of these die cut images. So if you wanted to layer things up or stamp and layer or whatever, there's all sorts of layering and fun things you can do with that. This one does a little bit of like an embossed background to it. So if you run it through the machine a couple times, you'll get sort of, I don't know, like a almost crosshatch type look. And then this one actually die cuts out these little bricks. So again, you can use these for background pieces. There are a couple smaller, just solid butterflies, and then there's one that cuts out the little kind of speckly pieces as well. So it's a really, really, really good stamp set bundle from Stampin' Up. So hey, Diane and Pam and Mary, and I apologize if I missed anybody else who hopped in as well. All right, so we're going to set a few of these aside here. A couple other things that I used on this card. I used the By the Dock stamp set for the sentiment for the card front. Just wanted a simple little happy birthday, so we did that. And then I used on the inside of the card the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set for the sentiment on the inside. Again, just a fun little stamp set. This is a good one if you don't have one. Kind of a general, can use it for almost any kind of birthday card. A couple of other things that I used the stitched rectangle dies, and I cut out, actually, if I can get the die off of the paper there, or off of the magnet, I used the second from the largest one to cut out my panel of the natural specialty designer series paper for the background. And then I also used the stitch shapes dies, and I used the square, which is the second from the smallest, to cut out the vellum pieces behind the butterflies, as well as the little sentiment on here. So those are the things that I used to put the card together. A couple things before we get going on the actual card making. And okay, well, thanks, Pam. I appreciate that. So I've got the double reward points ordering bonus going on right now. With the kick it off of the butterflies, I figured that I'd give you all a little extra yay. So if you order $50 or greater through my online store between now and March 8th, which is next week, Monday, you will get double reward points from me. I've got a host code posted out on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com, so go take a peek at that. The details for my double reward points are also posted, so go take a look. Let me know if you have any questions. As we've been talking about, this is the Butterfly Bouquet, is what they're calling it, but it's Butterfly Brilliance is the name of the stamp set. So this is available now to customers today, which is awesome. Again, you can get the individual stamp set and individual dies. You can get them bundled together. And then there's a pack. We're going to be playing with the Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper. It's 6x6 papers. So that actually is also in this collection. And then we've got the Natural Touch specialty paper, which I did use as well on the background of the card. So we're going to be playing with quite a bit of the things today. And then you can also use just one ordering number and order the whole, everything all together, but you can order individually too, whatever works best for you. And then one last thing, the Hey Chick and Hey Birthday Chick stamp set bundles are both available now. Again, this is the same stamp set from Celebration a couple years ago, so if you still have it, you can buy the dies that coordinate with it. If you don't have it, you can buy both of them as a bundle. And then this is the Hey Birthday Chick stamp set from the current mini catalog. And then we've got the Birthday Chick dies, and again, you can buy them as a bundle or each individually. So those are all the little awesome things going on right now from Stampin' Up! And from me. So hey Denise, thanks for joining. Okay, so back to the card. Let's get rolling here. I have got, this is a card base cut from Bermuda Bay cardstock. It's 4 1/8 by 11 and scored at 4 1/4. And then I've got a piece of the Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper. So this is what the backside looks like, which is almost too pretty to glue down. But that is actually what's going to go down on the back of my, or going to go face down on the card. And I've got the Bermuda Bay sort of a little more muted pattern that is going to face up. And this is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And all the measurements and things will be out on my blog tomorrow, which again is stampwithamyk.com. And as soon as I have the blog post up, I will link it up in this video, so you can go back and take a look tomorrow if you have questions about the sizes on anything or what I use for anything. And we're using a little multi-purpose liquid glue, so it gives me a little bit of wiggle time like I just needed right there to make sure that I've got things lined up and straight before it is stuck down forever and ever for good. All right, got that stuck down. The next thing that I did was this is pre-cut. I just took my stitched rectangle dies and I cut a piece of the, hey Kathy and Mary Ann and Sandy and anybody else. Sorry if I missed anyone else hopping in. So this is the Natural Touch specialty paper, and it's really cool. It's thinner, I will say that. So that's you have to be a little gentle, not a lot gentle, just a little gentle with it, because it does kind of tend to want to, if you get heavy-handed with your adhesive and kind of try to rip anything or pull it up or anything like that, you're probably going to rip it. But it's really cool paper. It's sort of shiny and almost looks like, I don't know, like vinyl on one side. And then the other side, if you wanted to use it, you definitely could. It's a little more muted pattern, but you could definitely use the back side of the paper as well. So we are going to take some, hey Joy, thanks for hopping in. And, en route to the vet from North Carolina. So hey, Kay, thanks. All right. Have fun. Well, I would say have fun at the vet, but usually it's not fun. So at least our animals don't tend to like to go there. All right, so I've got some Stampin' Seal, and we're just going to adhere that down to the card front. So this card is actually fairly flat, which is a little unusual for me. Usually I have to put like 29 dimensionals and layers and whatever, but this one can actually ship with a single stamp, which again is a little not my norm. So, all right. I am lining this up. I don't know if you saw what I did. I just sort of lined it up on my grid paper to help me to get things lined up and hopefully straight and centered on the card front. So that's kind of how I do it, is I put it on my grid paper and then take a look at here and a look here and here and hope that we get it pretty well centered. It's never perfect, but close enough. Okay, next up, one thing that I did not talk about when I was talking about the designer paper earlier. So this is from the Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper pack, and it's 6x6 paper. And the really awesome thing is Stampin' Up! Has designed this particular pattern in the paper to be able to be cut with the die. So all you have to do is lay the die right over the top and you can cut out all 6 butterflies all at once, which is so awesome. So that is actually what I'm going to do. I just wanted to show you how it all worked together and chop it out here while I was live. And so I'm going to be off screen for a second to run this through my die cutting machine. Hopefully I will get it lined up quickly. I just want to make sure that I don't end up with anything too crazy looking when it comes out the other side. Because it's always amazing to me how I can think I have it all lined up perfectly and then I run it through the machine and then I go, whoops, that wasn't quite as perfect as I thought it was going to be. So, Yours are almost all 70 cents to me. Mine are too, I must admit. I usually end up sticking the extra stamp on them. But this one's actually really flat, so I don't think I'll have to do that. So, all right, so we've got our die here. I'm going to set that aside and then show you the die cuts. Basically all come right out like that. So it's awesome. It's a really, really cool die. And we're going to use some of the butterflies. We're going to use 4 of them on this card. But then I've got 2 butterflies that I can use on a card some other day. All right, a couple other pieces that I have cut ahead of time. I've got some vellum, white vellum that I cut with the second to the largest, or second to the smallest, I'm sorry, of the stitched squares from the stitched rectangles, goodness, stitched shapes dies. I will get it right one of these days. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of Stampin' Seal on these, just because that's the easiest way to adhere them. And I know that I'm going to be putting butterflies right over the top of the middle of them, so I don't have to worry about the adhesive showing through. So, oh, the fun folds, yeah, they're always more expensive because you got like 8 million extra layers. So, all right, so I'm not going to stick this down like really, really hard yet. I'm just sort of placing it and making sure that I get everything put down where I want it to be on the card before I stick these down for good. Because I can still kind of lift them up and move them around if I need to, if I don't get things straight or get them as centered as I want them to be. I just like to have that sort of ability to move things around a little bit if I need to. All right, so here's the final one. I'm going to put that one down here. And again, just not going to stick them down tight yet until I place my butterflies over the top and I know that everything is pretty well where I want it to be. And whoop, I'm going to put that butterfly up a little bit, I think. And here's the little orangish one. And then we've got the littler kind of yellow and orange one that I'm going to put over here. And I think I twisted that just a little when I set that down. And then my final piece will be my sentiment. So I want to make sure that I have room for that on here as well with the butterflies on the card front. And I think this is all going to work out as well. So I'm going to go ahead and push down and make sure that my vellum pieces are stuck down well with the adhesive before I go to put my butterflies on the top. You can use glue dots or you can use Stampin' Seal, either one. Before I put these down, I did do kind of a little like lift up of the wings. Now I know when you put it in an envelope, it's probably going to get a little bit smooshed, but it's still, you know, they'll still pop off the page just a little bit when the person opens it and takes a look at their pretty card. But I did try to kind of lift it up to give them a little more lifelike look. I don't know whether it really worked or not, but that was my theory with it, is I lifted up the wings just a little bit. I'm going to put a couple glue dots in the center of this one, and again, do the same thing, just lifting up the wings just a little bit. Hey, Jamie. Didn't know it was a too thick thing. Yeah, and you weighed it. Yeah, that's the too thick gets you too. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not just the weight on them because yeah, I've tried that too. And then yeah, there's nothing worse than having your person get the card and you're all excited. Oh, I made you this fantastic card, and they're like, yeah, I had to pay 15 or 20 cents to get it out of the post office. That was awesome. So yes, I've done it before too, and yeah, I always feel badly about it, but when in doubt, I usually stick the extra stamp on, and I've had a lot of people, even at the post office, tell me that I don't have to do it, but I still do it anyway, just because all it takes is one spot along the way for somebody to say, I think that's too thick, and then they have to pay to get it. So, all right, so I've got the basics of the card done here. Again, use glue dots to stick down the butterflies, but you can also use Stampin' Seal, whatever your preferred adhesive is. And then we're going to do the stamping of the sentiment. And again, my sentiment is from By the Dock stamp set, which is in the annual catalog. And I've got Versamark ink. We're going to do some heat embossing with gold embossing powder. And I cut a couple of extra of these just in case, trying to make sure that, because this is one of those stamps that it doesn't look straight when I'm stamping it, but then it is straight, and then I think I have it straight and it's not straight, so I cut a few extra just in case I got too crazy, and I think I actually did that one pretty well. All right, I'm going to set the Versamark aside, and we'll sprinkle it with some gold embossing powder and see how that looks once I get that done, and if it's all good, then we will move forward with the heat embossing on it. All right. So again, just sprinkling. I keep my embossing powders in a little Ziploc container, which works out really well for me because I can put a lid on it because they are a huge mess when you spill them. And it also works well to be able to hold your project over the top of the container sprinkle the adhesive or sprinkle the embossing powder on it, and then shake it off right back into the container. So, all right, I've got the heat tool here. The Stampin' Up! Heat tool has 2 settings on it. There's a level 1 setting for drying and a level 2 setting for heat embossing. I flipped it onto the level 2 setting. I'm going to give it a second to heat up here. And we're going to hopefully heat emboss our sentiment once we get started. And I remembered my clothespin today so I didn't burn my little fingers like I've done a few other times. And that's all there is to the heat embossing. So hopefully you can see that that just kind of converts it from a powder to a shiny and pretty look. And I'm giving it a second to dry as I'm talking as well, because you can smear embossing powder if you put your fingers on it too quickly or die cut it or anything like that too quickly after you have embossed it, because it's a plastic material and it will smear. So, all right, let's bring our card front back in here, and I'm going to tuck in my last little sentiment over here. Hopefully, if I can feel like I can get my fingers to stop wiggling for 1 second and get it stuck on straight. All right, I think I got it. And with the butterfly, if I don't love the placement of it, I can pull it up just a little, hopefully. The glue dot will let go. There we go. I did this on my original card, and I should have waited a second until I got the happy birthday glued down, but all right, so that worked. So usually if I pull the glue dots kind of to the side like that, I can get them to release and then stick them back down and smoosh it in that time, and that should stick it for good. All right, the last thing on the card front is I've got some of the gold glitter enamel dots, and I'm just going to add one of the larger ones here to the sentiment. And one of the smaller ones, if my fingers will cooperate, I can get it stuck on there, hopefully. There we go. And then one of the medium-sized ones, sort of stuck off to the side here, just to make sure it's a little grouping of 3, because I guess you're supposed to do 3s in art. I don't know. All right, so that's it for the card front. Again, super simple, just a little die cutting, a little bit of embossing, a little bit of layering, and it's done. On the inside of the card, I also kept it fairly simple. And I'm going to adhere on a piece of the leftover, just cut to the right size. It looked big all of a sudden. Nope, I think that's good. A little bit of the leftover designer series paper from the front, and it's cut to about a ½ inch. And I'm just going to adhere it to the bottom of a basic white. One of these days I'll get it all right. Probably never. A little bit of basic white cardstock here. It's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. Just adhering that on to the bottom of it, and then I'm going to snip it off. And I realized I didn't stamp my sentiment on here, so I probably better do that and hope that I get it on here straight. So I've got the It's Your Day, Enjoy It sentiment from the Happiest of Birthday stamp sets, and I've got Bermuda Bay ink that I'm going to be using to stamp it in. Oh, I'm glad you guys are liking the card. Hey, Patricia, I don't know if I said hello to you, but thanks for hopping in and joining. I just love the butterflies. They're so pretty and so easy to use. Most definitely. All right, so everybody hold your breath for a second, and we'll hope that Amy stamps this straight. Ta-da, I think I did it. It's always one of those where if not, well, you just could have turned it like that, and then it looks straight. So, all right. The last thing that I did was I took one more of the butterflies that I had die cut from the front of the card and flung it across my table. No, just kidding. And just added a little bit of Stampin' Seal to it. And I'm just going to adhere it down here on the lower part of the panel. And I know a little bit of it can hang off, but I don't want a whole lot of it hanging off so that it's not hanging outside the card, and I don't want to have to chop his little wing off to get it to fit inside the card. So, yeah, the butterflies are really pretty. The stamped images are stunning, and then the paper that they added in with it and that it coordinates with the dies is just, it's really an amazing set of products. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. So go to my website and order it today because you need it, definitely. All right, so that's it for the inside of the card. I'm going to take a bone folder and do a quick crease here on the top. And we are all done for today. So this is the card I made ahead of time. This is the one we made here on screen. Again, a super simple card with just a couple of pretty butterflies and some of the pretty new papers on it. Again, these are all available in my online store right now if you are interested in purchasing them. Head on over. My blog has a link to it, which is stampwithamyk.com. So feel free to stop over there and click on the little link on my sidebar, and you'll head right over to go check out the Butterfly Brilliance bundle. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. I'm happy to answer, and I will plan to be back live on my YouTube channel on Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern Time, and then back here on Facebook Live around 2 o'clock Eastern Time on next week, Tuesday. So again, have a great rest of your day, and all the details will be posted on my blog tomorrow, so you can stop by and check it out. Talk to you all soon.